All right. Welcome to an all new episode of GVN Review. Just so you guys know, we will be talking about Eternals. This will be a spoiler review. Spoiler review. I have to make sure I preface this because the last few times I don't say it at the beginning and then we go right into it. And someone's just like, I thought this was just about the history of the Eternals, not the spoiler. So spoiler.
Wait.
Everyone dies.
Are you spoiling it? Are we spoiling it now?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay.
We're spoiling
We're tell you
everything.
who died and what happened.
Every single thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave out the important stuff, like, people's names.
I didn't agree to that. I need to talk about some of these deaths and everything. There's some key deaths that I need to talk about.
Oh, trust me, we are going fully into this, all spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, please go see the movie and then come back to our spoiler review and enjoy it. And then just leave your comments, concerns, questions, whatever down below. But please like and subscribe and share. People don't usually say that. Share it. Share it to your friends. All right. So this movie, Chloe Zhao. We said it before. We said they were waiting to give us that first official trailer for Eternals until after she won her Oscar, so they could say Oscar-winning Chloe Zhao, director of Eternals. And I now fully see why she was a pick, that they were just like, we gotta have her. We gotta have her. I'll just say this: I've not seen a speedster run better than Makari.
Yeah,
I'm just putting it out there. Putting it out there. That's the best speed has looked in any fashion, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've been
Yeah.
seeing that like everywhere on the internet. I feel like the internet is in a collective agreement on that. Like that it looks the best out of any speedster that we've seen in a live action form.
Except for the DC dick riders out there, the DCU dick riders that think the Flash is the end all be all.
If anyone thinks Ice Capades is the way you run, then that's that.
I'm not even gonna get in on that.
He's like, how I feel. I will say this though. I was a little, and part of me kind of feels like, I don't want to say this because I don't want to make it sound like this is why, but I kind of felt like when you have a character that's mute, there's just not much you can do with her. And it felt like that's how they viewed it, because Makari was in flashback sequences, but in real time wasn't until halfway through towards the end of the movie that you get Makari in real time. And it's kind of just like, well, I kind of would have liked to have seen more of Makari, whether it's
that's what the sequel is for. You know that they're going to focus more on Makari in the sequel. I'm just saying. Out of the surviving Eternals, spoiler alert.
Oh, for sure. 100%. But to me, it was my favorite character. And it was just because all the scenes she was in, she stole. The scene where they had their first big battle with the Deviants, and she completely knocks the Deviant off the rocks. And God, why can't I think of his name? Kumail Nanjiani's character. Kingo go, they're signing, and he's like, like, nice move. And she's like, yeah, yours too. She just had so much heart. And to me, because Tia, you know how I felt about this, AJ, I don't know if I ever talk with you about it, but my favorite thing out of Kong versus Godzilla was the girl, because she just emoted so well. And that's, to me, one of the most important things of acting, is being able to act without saying words. It's what your face can tell me, and Makari just delivers that so well. So I just wanted to start off with something that I really loved, which was Makari. So I want to start off with that before we dig right into the meat of everything. So Tia, I'll go to you. What was, even though I feel like I know your answer, what was your one character that stood out to you the most in this?
So, hello, my name's Tia. I'm the president of the Ikaris fan club, but also slash the Druid slash Makari fan club. Like, as a ship, those two together. I'm sorry. I know the whole thing was like Ikaris and Cersei, and believe me, I get that too, and I will talk further about that. But just like, I think, what was it, Kingo and Fastos, as soon as like Druig was like, my beautiful, beautiful Makari, and I was like, but they were all like, oh, but what is this going on? I hate it. And I was like, I love it. What are you talking about that you hate this? Whatever's going on right now, I love this. But yeah, no, of course it was Ikaris. I love Richard Madden so much. And I love everything that he brought to this character, all the depth. But honestly, like, and I don't mean to be this person, but I say this like full-heartedly, I loved everyone. Like, I can pick out from each character things that I loved. Like, you know, I'm a huge Angelina Jolie fan. So what she brought to Athena, I loved. Gilgamesh, loved. All of them had such, like Kingo even. But I mean, that shouldn't be surprising because Kunal's such a charismatic actor, but they all like brought such greatness to their characters. Like, if I had to say one character that maybe wasn't my favorite, probably Sprite. Not that I hated her, but there was that small bit that I was like, I could have done without you.
See, I love Sprite. I love characters like that are just like, no one really understands me and no one really asks. You know, it's just kind of just like, here's your place, fall in line. You're not Ikaris, you're not Cersei, you know, you're not any of the big names. You're Sprite. You do illusions, whatever. Who cares, right? And I love how she was just like, you know what? If you guys won't hear me, I'll make you hear me. You know what I'm saying? I'll do something so drastic that you'll be forced to listen to how I feel, because no one ever asked. So I like Sprite. I like Sprite a lot, more than I thought I would heading into this movie. It took maybe up until like a month ago for Joelle to instill in me that Sprite wasn't the one that runs fast.
That is true. That it, you know, I can see that. Because
I'm like, I was thinking like little, like, I don't want to say troll, but you know, like how is it Hermes, right? Hermes is pretty short, so I'm like, yeah, Sprite makes sense for like the speedster. And then he was just like, no, that's Makari, and I'm just like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, what does Sprite do? I'm like, yeah, what does Sprite do? He's like, well, illusions. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like her. But she was awesome. She was really awesome. If there was one person I probably can say I didn't like because they didn't give much screen time to him, and then when they did, it kind of was just like wasted a bit, was Kingo. You get
really? I felt like he was so charismatic in his like scenes, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
By far, one of my favorite Kingo scenes is when they're on the plane and Sprite's like, aren't they going to catch on that you've literally been doing this for like 100 years? And he's like, what are you talking about? There's my great grandpa, my great grandpa, my grandpa, my dad, and then me. And it's like, I don't know. I felt like he had like a lot of personality. I will say at the end when he was just like, oh yeah, I'm gone, because I do agree with Ikaris, but I also don't want to fight you guys, so I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I didn't like that, but here's how I can explain it that you'll understand me, Tia. You remember how me and you had to divide on what Aquafina brought to Shang-Chi? That's how I felt about Kumon and Johnny. So it was kind of just like, you look at it, you're kind of just like, I feel like this movie really focused. This movie kind of felt the same way Birds of Prey did, where clearly it's about the entire team, but there's clearly one singular focus, and that was Cersei. And then, you know, the big name of Ikaris, and then, of course, you know, working in Athena somewhere in there. But it never really felt like they gave equal screen time to everyone. It felt like they were focusing on some. Go ahead.
I feel like that's an impossible task, though, especially for it being what is it called? A first time movie for all these like characters.
Introduction
to these characters. It's really hard, especially since there's like 10 characters.
Well, see, why I said I think this would have been better if you shrunk it down, and then it ends with us being introduced to more, because you do 10 and it's kind of just like, well, like you said, it's almost impossible. Not impossible because we've seen Avengers.
Yeah, anything is possible. Yeah,
Right.
almost.
Yeah, but I
Avengers
will say,
focus on more than one.
but the difference with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame was that we all knew these characters before going into those two films. We didn't know these characters in the Eternals. Like, I didn't realize there was 10 characters really until like a day before I saw the movie. There's like these 10 characters, and I was like, shit, there really is 10. I think that it was only natural some of them are going to fall by the wayside, and I think that we'll see though more of those characters than in the sequel, because that's spoiler alert, they really cut down.
I always thought that this, since Chloe Zhao was going to direct this, I really thought this was going to be the best film adaptation for a best ensemble adaptation for Marvel, but it didn't really hit the mark for me because I don't think it hit on every character equally. It was much like what Juwan was saying. Cersei was the one that got most of the screen time, and then you have Ikaris, and there's some other characters like Ajax who it is there for like past sequences, and then we really thought that she was going to be there for a lot of the movie. But
I didn't expect
really
that.
Yeah,
you bring in Salma Hayek, and she, was speaking so positively about her character that I really expected her to be present in the movie. So when they did like the first 10 minutes and she was dead, I sat there and went, what?
They really messed us over with the marketing. They highlight her a lot in the marketing.
They did, and I will say one of my biggest issues is, and look, T, I got your guy.
How did you get that? I'm mad. I want it.
Time out. Not just that guy. I got your other guy.
I'm so mad. Where did you? Where? I need the link to this. All right, just stop the podcast now and send me the link to wherever you got these figurines.
Beautiful.
Stop it! I'm getting way too jealous. This isn't Figure It Out. Okay.
All right. No, you're absolutely right. But no, I will say, she threw me for a loop a lot in this. And for everyone listening, the reason why I was saying, well, the reason why I think the focus was obviously on Cersei so much was in the comics, Cersei does join the Avengers. So I thought, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I did not think this movie would leave off to where there'd be an opening for a sequel. I thought this movie would leave off to where it's definitive of Cersei is the only one that makes it out. Is really what I thought. It's honestly what I thought. Because again, I told you guys, they're Eternals, right? So you can't really team the Eternals up with the Avengers for anything that's coming in the MCU up until we get to something like a Galactus. You know what I'm saying? Another celestial type being. Because when you look at it, you're kind of just like, well, I mean, if Cersei can do even half of that, she could easily defeat Doctor Doom herself. Cersei could easily defeat Magneto herself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how are you going to structure this to where if you don't kill them off, they're doing something that we don't have to say, well, damn, how come Cersei didn't just come help Doctor Strange out in Multiverse of Madness? Like, why did he, you know what I'm saying? So I like how they...
To be fair, with Cersei's power set, it wouldn't work like that. Because in this movie, all she can transmutate is inorganic matter or the deviants, and that's about it. And with their power set, with where at the end where she froze the Celestial, that was just a power buff. She doesn't have that power anymore. It was just a power buff because the Celestial rose. She's not like the strongest of any of the Marvel characters.
No,
if anything.
No, but the little she can do is OP as hell. So like if she can only do 2% of what the rest of them can do, it's still 2% more than what any of these human characters we're about to get can do. Namor, Doctor Doom, Magneto, whatever else, human-based villains we're about to get. But no, I mean, I want to focus.
Clearly, Doctor Doom does dabble in scientific magic, so that still helps him a little bit.
It does, but again, I'm only leaving it because again, I don't know what direction of Doctor Doom they're going. We've seen two Doctor Dooms that have not gone magic.
Don't get me started with that.
No. We're not going there, but I'm just saying I haven't seen any Doctor Doom that's gone magic, not even in their cartoons. So I'd be interested to see if magic is where they're going to go. It should be. If Doctor Doom exists in the same world as Doctor Strange, don't play games with that.
It doesn't even have to be pure magic. It would be magic based off of science, which is
fine. Yeah, that's fine. Hell, we heard Thor say, Asgard is where science meets magic, and we just combine it. So yeah. But anyway, I want us to focus more on the good before we get to the bad, because I had a few bad. But I want to stay on the good because we did truly enjoy this movie. We all
I just want to say that to me, the good far out. I didn't really think anything was bad per se. I think that there was just a few things that were a little rushed and maybe not thought through. But there was nothing really that I can definitively say that I hated, except for maybe the death of a character.
Yeah,
but
we're not gonna do it now. But I want to elaborate on that death of the character because that whole arc of what they did is what I hated. But let's focus more on some of the good. I want us to, in our minds, take the end credit scene. That's what we're gonna end this podcast on. I don't want us to jump all over the place, but to stick on the good. I love their suits. I really did. It took a while for me not to look at it and think I was watching an episode of Power Rangers with the color schemes. But I did like their suits and their powers. To me, that was the biggest thing for me. How are you going to showcase these powers? And let me just say, I almost cried in that theater sitting next to Joel when we got the screener for it. To me, Tia, you know this. You know how big I am with accuracy. I need points from the comics in some shape or fashion of these adaptations. When Ikaris was so angry, he gave us the laser beams to the sky.
Oh, yeah, when he went like that.
So there's two people I need to see that from in the MCU. I got it from Ikaris. I now need it from Cyclops. I need that same shot from Cyclops. But that was so comic accurate. And I was just like, oh, like, Chloe, you get it. There were certain points of this movie that I'm like, she's going too out there with it. She's outsmarting herself. She's overthinking it. And then there were just subtle moments like that I was just like, oh, you get it. You do. So what else were some of the things, AJ, I'm going to pass it to you now. I'm going to loop back to you, Tia. What else were some of the things, AJ, you enjoyed from this movie? Some of the other aspects?
Well, going off the power set, I really did love it. And the details within that, because you see a lot of like celestial type of things when they activate the powers. When Cersei uses the transmutation type power, you can see like, what is it called? Like zodiac type of elements within it. And when you see Makari and when she hits the deviant, you can see all of the speed that's coming within her release out of her,
right?
And hit them. It was really, really cool. I also did like how this actually does feel like a Chloe Zhao movie. It feels like Nomadland. Filmmaking wise, the cinematography feels like it. Everything. I also love how this movie expands on many elements from previous movies from the MCU, which we'll get back to later.
Right.
And then expands on and gives us new elements within the MCU movie, the MCU as a whole, which is really nice to see and refreshing. Since Black Panther with Wakanda, I feel like everything just it felt natural to me. Like the first everything up until not even at the end, but like some of the end credit scenes, which we'll get to later, I have some issues with. But everything else I really did enjoy. And like the cast is amazing. You can feel the chemistry within this movie. It felt really refreshing.
Yep.
Like with me, I really thought this was going to be the best adaptation, but I still prefer Avengers and Guardians a little bit over this.
As far as team up goes, right?
Yeah, as far as team up goes, but filmmaking wise, I felt like this does feel unique in of its own. It feels, like I said, it feels like Chloe Zhao movie, and it's amazing. I really did love it.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off what you were saying because the chemistry was there. It's just I don't know. She was trying to tell a story, and I get it. But I always say there might have been an easier way to tell this story in a flow where I think this story would have been better if you had focused the first half of the movie because it was almost a 3-hour movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had focused the first half on just the past, right? And then you ending it when they decide to separate. And then you bring it to present day and we're seeing everyone live out their present day lives. That way everyone could have gotten more screen time. Everyone could have gotten a lot more of meat to chew on the bone rather than doing it so sporadically when it was just like, all right, pop up here, pop up here, pop up here. Because I'm like a lot more of those fight sequences where you could have just had one long one in the beginning and then showcase them trying to establish peace, seeing how sometimes it didn't work. And then when they ultimately decided to split, should have been the first half. And then the second half is present day, seeing how far they've come, seeing how they've now fit into society. And then boom, deviants are back. And now the whole second half is trying to stop the deviants. But I think when you mixed it kind of like that, it's kind of like, well, everything is Cersei. Literally everything you were showing me was, and I'm not saying I had a problem with that. It's just you weren't really focusing on anyone else. And then when it came time for Sprite to say something like, no one's ever really listened to me. No one ever, asked me about this. And it's kind of just like, where did that come from? Like, I didn't really feel her motivations at any.
So when Cersei, what?
No, I'm saying when Sprite at the end was saying how no one's ever listened to her. No one's.
Well, it's not told, but it is shown that she does feel separate from humans, especially the moment when Cersei and Black Knight's character, I can't remember his.
Dane Whitman.
Yeah. They were at the club and she was posing as a woman and she tried to interact with humans and then realized that she couldn't. And you can tell, for me at least, you can tell that she just feels separate from everybody. And the way she watches over Cersei, she does feel a little bit jealous within that scene. And it goes over to that end scene where she releases all of her jealousy off of Cersei, which I really did love. So it does have a little callback to that, which for me I did enjoy.
I kind of would have preferred if it was a little bit more like when Kamal.
Yeah, I get you.
When Kingo was telling her on the jet of like, oh, you think I didn't notice like you had a thing for Ikaris? It just caught me off guard. I'm like, she has a thing for Ikaris? I would have.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Like I thought the relationship that they had was, and I'm sure that's how he saw it, was just the big brother, like the big brother to Sprite. So when he said that, I'm kind of just like, well, where did that come from? Like I don't, like you could have just said she's an older woman and wants to date older people, but can't in this child form. But to immediately put it to where you stuck her to Ikaris was kind of just like, that was weird. I don't really understand that. Like, why? So again, a lot of the motivations and certain things like that were kind of weird. You did ultimately say, all right, Makari, Gilgamesh, and Thena. Off you go. We'll get to you at some point. When we get to you, we're not even really gonna hearken on it. Right. And that's why when Thena had that moment at the end where she overcame it and was able to kill, which at some point I will get to this, which was the worst waste of a villain since the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. To me, when she had that moment, it didn't really deliver the way it should have because you didn't focus enough on Thena and her true struggles and why that moment was so important to her. I don't know. Even when Gilgamesh died, it was kind of just like, it was a little anticlimactic. You had her freezing up and I'm kind of just like, I don't understand. She had been saying how she's been ready for a fight. She gets a fight and she freezes. I don't understand that. I didn't understand that. Maybe I missed.
I thought we're focusing on the good, not the bad.
You are.
Right
I'm
now.
sorry. AJ got me thinking on that, and then my brain.
Well, to be fair, action and talking are two different things. You can say one thing and do another. And she had a traumatic event. You can't just get over it just by saying, "Hey, I'm ready to fight." You just can't do that. So
let's do this. Hold on to that, and let's jump back to that when we go into the negatives, because I want to elaborate on that more. But okay, Tia, what other things stood out to you that you really enjoyed from this?
So much. The visuals, first of all. I love the visuals. Like, I loved how their powers manifested. I love how, like, Thena's weapons, so cool. When they're in the ship and everything's connecting, so cool. To me, I hadn't seen that in the Marvel universe before, and I just thought it was beautiful how it came to be. I like that it felt so different from every Marvel movie, but still felt connected at the same point. I mean, we had the little things like, and I have to say this, right? I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I was never the biggest fan of Jon Snow on Game of Thrones, but I loved Kit Harington in this role. Like, I love when he was so cool with learning that Cersei was like an eternal being, but then he was kind of disappointed that she wasn't a wizard like Doctor Strange and couldn't like turn him into a giraffe. I'm like, that's kind of cute. I like this. Of course, I love the dynamic between Richard Madden and Gemma Chan. I loved it. I thought they had such phenomenal chemistry. We got our first sex scene in the MCU.
We did.
And I was not complaining at all. We also, though, did get our first same-sex kiss, which was great, because, you know, they made such a big deal in Endgame about, oh my God, the first gay character, and it really is like something in passing. But it's like here it was like front, center, unapologetic.
Who's the gay character? No. I know in this. In
Endgame. Remember at the beginning when Steve is doing like his support group, and one of the Russo brothers is like, yeah, I was on a date and it was with a man. And that was it. That was like, boom. And like Disney's like, oh my God, first gay character. We are so progressive. And it's like, you really did nothing. You did nothing. Okay, I'm not going to give you.
I'm like, what character? Okay.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's an example. You didn't even remember. So it's
I
like,
did not. It was. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Which that was another thing. I loved Fastos, and I love how he was so 100% done with his fellow Eternals. Like, Ikaris literally shoots laser beams in his house. Thena is like creating a sword in front of his kid, and he's just like, "Can you guys not? This is a child.
Right?
Stop this.
You guys gotta leave. You can't be here. You can't be here."
And like, I know what you mean, Joanne, and again, this was our thing where I thought Aquafina was over the top. I can see where you felt that Kingo was over the top, because I will say, while I liked his character, I didn't feel the need for his little assistant to be there constantly 24/7. I was like, I didn't sign up for this. But he was fine. It was just like, I'm just saying.
I loved when I loved the scene where they kept breaking cameras, and he kept finding new cameras.
He was like, how many cameras did you break? You know what?
That was a great moment. Yeah.
He was a true assistant, always come prepared.
Right.
But I mean, to me, the comedic moments kind of worked, like when Cersei and Ikaris go to Fastos's home, and Fastos's son is like, oh my God, you're like Superman, you have a cape and you did this, and he's like, well, I don't wear a cape, you know. So I liked that. I liked a lot. I loved all of their chemistry. I know we talk about, again, Ikaris and Cersei because they clearly were a prime focus of this. But, and I did mention Druid and Makari, but also Thena and Gilgamesh. Like, Gilgamesh, without hesitation, was like, I'll take care of you. And not because you're weak or anything, but because I care for you so much.
Right.
And like, I love their whole thing. And I was so upset when Gilgamesh died. To me, it's like, I get what you mean when you're like, maybe it's a little anticlimactic, but I was still upset because I was like, that was essentially like Thena's like safety blanket. And now she doesn't have that. And I'm trying to like think of like all the things that I so enjoyed in this movie because there was so much to it. But sticking with the Thena part, right? You know, there's this big thing with Cersei. You know, she was framed in the way where maybe she's the quote unquote weakest of the Eternals, right? But Ajak made her the leader. And I loved, you know, looking back, obviously we know Ikaris's motivation, but when at first Sprite was like, you know, Ikaris, you tell us what to do. And Ikaris is like, no, Cersei's the leader. And then Cersei's having these doubts, and Thena essentially tells her, like, get up, you know, you're so much stronger than you think you are. I just love it. I love them, the characters. I thought they were great. I could probably like think of more, but I just think what made this movie truly great was just the chemistry between the cast. You know, that's what I love the most about it, the visuals and them. I thought they all worked really well against each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think this movie's biggest strength is you got some of the best actors out right now to portray these characters. So I think that worked in your favor. But in heading into some of the negatives, I think where you kind of went wrong was it's like when you do a Fantastic Four story, right? I don't ever need the individual struggles of Reed, Sue, Johnny, or Ben. I need there to be combined struggles with little small obstacles in their individual lives that they're going through, right? Because there has to be some kind of adversity. It has to be Johnny's a hothead and he gets too much over, he gets himself in too much trouble and they have to bail him out or whatever. Ben with his whole complexion identity and whatnot. But where I think this movie kind of lost it is, like you said, Tia, Thena giving that line, right? And then struggling to live up to the line that she gave. Kind of in the fact that you had a villain in Crow, right? Who was, again, utilized the same way the Mandarin was, where it's like, all right, clearly in all the promotions, this is your big bad, right? Clearly you get to it and it's just like, Guy Pearce is my big bad? What? Like,
well,
Pearce is my big bad?
I do have to say though, sorry, going back to the positives really quick. I like that the deviants didn't end up really being the bad guys. To me, and I didn't really even, but maybe this is because I was an Ikaris apologist. I didn't really see Ikaris as the bad guy either. It was like, to me, I know, but their like main thing is like stopping the Celestials. Whether Ikaris was around or not, their main challenge still would have been stopping the Celestial. And I liked that it was, and I liked finding out that the deviants were also created by the Celestials. So it's like they're all these pawns in this big gigantic game that they're not even aware of themselves. So I did appreciate that. And I wanted to say really quick before you go any further, for me, some of the negatives were just like, again, Kingo being with them and then going, I'm good, and then piecing out. Or at the end when they do their thing, they beat the Celestial, and it's like Cersei goes, oh, I have some leftover power, so Sprite, I'll give it to you. You can be a human now. And I was like, wait, what? Or at the very, very end, when they're all just like chilling, living their lives, and then all of a sudden the main Celestial guy, I forget his name now, like plucks them out of nowhere and takes them away. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
Arsham. Yeah. So
I
to
love
me,
that.
those were that.
See, I love that. And
I wish I had more time with it. That's what it was. It's not the act that I disliked. I wish I had more time with it, that it wasn't literally at the last 15 seconds of the movie.
I see what you're saying. Because, see, that was the accuracy I was looking for. And I told you I would have been really upset if that wasn't in the movie at all. Because the actual reason that the Celestials left the Eternals on Earth, because remember, they were created on Earth and then left there. They were left there because Ursham wanted them to deem whether or not Earth was worthy of staying intact. So he said, I will be back in 10,000 years or 7,000 years or 8 million years or whatever. And when I get back, I want to report on whether or not Earth is worthy enough to stay. So when he says that, I'm like, well, thank you, because that's their actual purpose. Their purpose isn't anything else, because deviants weren't necessarily bad guys. Remember, Thanos had the deviant gene. Deviants were kind of just like the people you look at, you're just like, ill, gross. You're breathing, ill. I don't think you should be, like, gross, you know. So I was appreciative that they put that in there, because I'm like, well, that's accuracy. But what I was saying about the Athena moment was, when you have a throwaway villain, the way that they use their throwaway villain, when she had that moment, it didn't really mean much, because it's like, well, this is a throwaway villain none of the other heroes are even worrying about right now. You're fighting two different battles, you know? So it picture if the moment where Cap grabbed Mjolnir, right? Was when they were fighting the children of Thanos. Would that have hit as hard if he did that on such a useless villain when the real fight is Thanos? No, you want to see him use the hammer against Thanos. You don't want to see him use it against Thanos' children. So to me, I'm kind of like, well, that whole moment where she kind of rose above it would have been good. Oops, sorry. Would have been good if we could have gotten that just against the actual fight that mattered, which was the fight with Ikaris. That would have been awesome, where she really kind of launched forward and is just like, no. Oh, I will
say that was one of my favorite lines, by the way, in the movie. Like the interaction between Ikaris and Athena, when Ikaris is like, you've not had to fight me. And she's like, no, but I've always wanted to. And it's like, I love that. I thought there were so many fantastic lines in it. Like, again, we're getting into the negative, and it certainly wasn't a perfect movie at all. You know, hardly any movies are, but I love that line so much.
What was I gonna say?
Sorry.
Yeah, no. You're good, because that was a really good line, and she was so nonchalant about it, just like, nah, but you know, I've always wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. We were talking, AJ. What was it we were talking about before with Sprite? And we were going on, but we were in the positives. I forgot. Any of you remember where we left off? I'm gonna rewatch this when I edit it. I'm gonna be so angry that I forgot. It's not even gonna be funny.
The way you didn't like the way that Sprite was used. You didn't like how.
Oh yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, again, a lot of people's motivations could have been better. A lot of how you delivered on some of the scenes. And here's my biggest issue. The largest issue of this entire movie. Drig. On the toy that you guys saw that I showed you, on the back of the box, Drig, it says that Drig he obviously can manipulate people with his mind, but it most importantly says Drig is the one Eternal that the other Eternals are never sure which side he plays for. And I'm like, well, you introduce... No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Really quick, I'm sorry. I think that maybe that was done on purpose, because I think I had heard people say, like, when they were watching the trailers, where it's like, in the comics, it's Droog who goes like against them and he's untrustworthy. But I think that the movie kind of flipped that on its head and made it Ikaris instead. But I will agree that Droog did at times feel like he was kind of in the wrong. I mean, he was like manipulating a whole town. He was like manipulating people. So it's not necessarily like, oh, he's doing everything right.
Well, that's what I meant by... Oh, go ahead, AJ.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say really quickly, then you can jump in here. I was just gonna say, to me, that's where I think as a director, you're thinking too much. You know what I'm saying? That's not an instance where you needed to flip it on its head. You could have just stuck with it. I would have even accepted if you said in that moment, Druig manipulated Ikaris to turning against the team. I could even accept that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like the ultimate Boy Scout. I don't like that. I don't like that for Ikaris. I don't like his motivations just being he's an ultimate Boy Scout.
See, the thing is between Ikaris and Druig is that they're always at odds with each other. Druig can't control Ikaris at all. That's already been established within the comics, and it's sort of been established in here, but not really, because Druig is technically the good guy within this iteration for now, which I do believe he still has a grander plan for everything within the second movie. I do believe that he will betray them within the second movie.
See, I don't think so. I think the only way he would betray them is if Makkari is not there. Like if something happens to Makkari. I think Makkari is what keeps him on, because again, manipulating people is wrong. But remember, he wasn't like torturing them or anything. He was the one that said we should end war. We should make it to where it's just peace. And essentially that little farmland that he had was working within peace. So I'm like, he didn't really do anything in this movie that made me go, yeah, he could betray somebody at some, like, no, it kind of felt like he's the ultimate human of that team, to where he said, I think we should get involved. They're killing each other. I can't sit back and just watch them continuously murder each other when we have the means to help them. So to me, that's why I said, again, if they're trying, if what you're saying, AJ, is that Ikaris is too powerful for someone to control him, not a problem. But to me, I kind of felt as though it was Chloe's way of saying Ikaris is so strong. There's no way we can have anything else against them. But it's like, well, you had the big bad of the Deviants. Just use that. Have it be he couldn't defeat the Deviants, right? And then when you're like, all right, perfect. How are they going to come together to defeat this massive one? You separate them, and Thena's the one that defeats it by herself.
That part I didn't really care for, but the character as itself, I really did like. I didn't feel like it was truly a throwaway villain, because he does have motivation. He does have this urge to make the Eternals realize what's going on, and because it happened to them, and he is the one that always continues to evolve within this movie, because he takes away their powers, so on and so forth. And he was basically used as a MacGuffin, basically, to birth the idea that the Eternals can come together as, what is it, the Uni-Mind is what they called it, to help become powerful, which I really did like from that villain. But much like what you said, the execution wasn't really there with the villain, or some of the motivations with the characters. For me, I did like the motivations set by each character. But for me personally, I just wish that all of it was expanded on. Like everything was explained, but it just could have been expanded upon. But that would have made a longer runtime, 3 hours plus, basically. But then you had to get into what you want to cut out. And for me personally, I didn't really want to cut out anything, because I feel like everything was needed within that movie. So actually not. There's a couple scenes that I really didn't think that was needed, like the Ikaris flying to the sun. I know that was symbolic and everything, but it was a little cringeworthy for me. I didn't really care for that.
I didn't want it. I was sitting there going like, oh, cool.
He's not dead.
Ikaris didn't die. He didn't die. And then he eats off and everything. And I was like, really? You couldn't have just made it like ambiguous, right? Like, okay, he flies off, and that's all we see. No, we had to you literally had to put that mythological thing in there with him flying into the sun. It's like, I get it. Ikaris flying too close to the sun and everything. I didn't need him to literally kill himself into the sun. I will say really quick, I was talking to Kanan about it, and I was like, I'm really sad Ikaris is dead. And he goes, well, Superman once flew into the sun and he's not dead. And I'm like, but you know Marvel's track record, they're like dead.
Also,
but it's already been established
they can be hurt.
They can't kill themselves. They can kill one another, but they can't kill themselves within this movie. So flying to the sun really does nothing to Ikaris.
Okay, let me just say this, because a lot of people are of that mindset.
I think
Ikaris
they
is
killed
super
him
dead.
off.
Ikaris is super dead.
Yes.
In the difference between what Kanan was saying is the sun literally powers Superman. So I can imagine flying
that's true.
would only enhance Superman, not kill him. But for Ikaris, I did not like him dying. But I get it.
It's like, I get it. It's poetic, again, mythology and everything. It's like, again, his name is Ikaris, based off the mythological being Ikaris, who flew too close to the sun and his wings got clipped and everything. But why waste Richard Madden like that?
That is true.
He'll be back. He is not dead. What I believe 100%.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna go right to you, Trayvon, because I want to welcome you in. So I'm gonna go right to you. But let me just say this twofold. One, it's never a waste if this was something that was agreed upon. Because I personally thought Angelina Jolie would be the one to would be one of the ones to bite the bullet. Because I saw a few of these actors as people I did not see wanting to be tied down.
Right.
And Richard Madden was always one of them for me. And his skill set is too powerful to hold in the MCU.
So is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's super powerful. Captain Marvel's super powerful.
No.
She's
Captain
OP.
She's OP compared to the heroes we have now.
But that's what I'm saying.
Period. Not Richard Madden, I'm sorry. Icarus is OP in the essence of Marvel's, in like all of Marvel.
That's a whole other conversation from this movie, but we can definitely get in debate about more than 10 characters that can beat Ikaris within the comic universe. That's
for sure.
In
the MCU, I could see you not wanting because think about what's left. Their skills. You have what you have left. The best way for them to be effective is together. Individually, you can defeat Thena. Individually, you can defeat Gilgamesh. Individually, you can defeat Makari and Drigg and Kingo. Ikaris one-on-one. There's nobody in the MCU that got hands for Ikaris. In the MCU, there's no one that has hands.
Captain Marvel could go up against them. Sorry.
Captain Marvel, we have Adam Warlock.
Not Ikaris.
That's coming in.
Captain Marvel could do it. He could be hurt. He could be hurt.
You have Starhawk that's coming in. That's just been introduced.
Yeah, he meant Star Fox.
Star Fox. What did I say?
Starhawk.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Star Fox. Yeah, exactly. My bad. But yeah, there are characters being introduced as we speak that can stand up to Ikaris by himself.
I'm just saying.
Now the question is,
bring back Richard Madden.
Are they going
to
bring back the Hulk that we actually need? Because the Hulk can go against Ikaris.
We're not going there because that makes me
But what I'm saying is there are people in the MCU that can contend. Might not be able to beat, but can contend with Ikaris.
I will say, and I don't mean to take time from Trayvon because I know he just hopped on. But we technically didn't see Ikaris die. I'm just saying.
Guys,
no, actually we didn't. We just see him flew into the sun, and that's it. Technically, we didn't see him die.
He's as dead as Stark.
He's not dead.
He's super.
If it's not shown, it's not true.
It's very dead.
It's not shown, it's not true.
Why?
One rule.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Why not give us Richard Madden? It's like, I guess Salma Hayek, maybe this is just a one and done and everything. I'll agree with you. Angelina Jolie was surprising, but hey, maybe she's just looking for a franchise to bounce on.
She just wanted to work with Chloe Zhao. Academy Award winning Chloe Zhao. So.
Academy Award winning Chloe Zhao. Why take Richard Madden? He's young enough, and you know what it was?
They're like, we can only
have one Stark brother. That's what it was. They were like, we can only have one Stark brother.
And it always falls to Kit Harington.
Oh, and Robb Stark died early in Game of Thrones. I don't like this. Now
I'm going to pass it to you, but
sorry, Trayvon.
I do believe Richard Madden came on to this knowing that this was a possibility of just being one and done. Because the Eternals they're not characters I necessarily need for the long haul of the MCU. I only really need Cersei. That's it. I really only need Cersei. That's about it. The rest of them just sometimes become it's like you're just too powerful. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're too powerful. So to me, we're gonna get to where I think this is going, and it's over arc. But Trayvon, we started with the good, we were on the bad, and we were heading towards the end credits. So I want you to give us both some of the things you liked and you disliked.
Okay. So I like the family aspect of them. Of course I like the abilities. Of course I like him flying and stuff, of course. Don't joke me.
You love your
but I do. I thought it was cool. I thought they all flew, which was like one surprise for me when they all came down. I didn't know that. See, I didn't know because you see them all coming down. I didn't know they didn't all of them just had that ability. I didn't know that. So that was I was like, okay, so he just flies. I do like that they aren't like all super powerful. I do like we have the intellectual ones, and then you have the ones that have the abilities, the one that actually fight the deviants. I do like that. Like they aren't like I can't help but compare this to Jupiter Legacy. Because in Jupiter Legacy, they all not by like the show, not by like the like character wise. I'm talking about like the abilities wise. All of them could fly. All of them kind of had some kind of strength to them. This is not that. Like some of them are grounded, literally. One of them can only change objects to something else. They don't all have like a shared ability, which is interesting for them. Let me see. I don't know. I'm trying to like the good. I just had a good time with this movie. I admit my expectations were very low compared because the stuff I was reading. I was like, man, I hope this thing isn't slow, and I hope it's not grass, like a whole bunch of grass scenery and stuff. Like I was scared of that. So when I, saw it, I was like, oh, this pace is great. I don't see a problem here. Like they're moving along here. Things are happening. Timeline's still a mess, but it's okay. I guess that's the only thing. Like it's just I love the flashback and stuff like that, but I just can't help but think about this is like 7 days after Endgame. It's just weird. Just the timeline's just a mess in general for the MCU for me.
Then in the movie they said that was 5 years, didn't they?
No.
It
had been
7 days after the snap.
Ajax specifically said a time within the snap and within this movie.
I think it only took a few weeks.
No, she said after the snap was done, that's when they brought everybody back, and then she was like, how long we have? 7 days. Like, so 7 days. I'm assuming that means 7 days after the last snap.
No,
everybody got brought back.
7 days until the emergence.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, from all the energy causing the emergence to actually happen now. Thanos delayed it by getting rid of half of the people. By bringing half the people back, it brought all the energy back. So now we have the emergence.
Okay.
That's what I got from it anyway. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It is a little bit confusing there. What I was trying to think, what did not like? I don't know. Like I don't know. I really liked how they were living amongst them, and I understood why they didn't interfere. But I feel like they could have fixed some of the issues, some of the wars they could have fixed. I don't know, some of the wars they could have.
I have a theory on
why. You have a problem with the movie. I get you.
Yeah, I have a theory on why that they didn't interfere on at least in the turmoil with Thanos. I have a theory for that one, but you can keep on going.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird that they didn't interfere with Thanos, I guess. I guess if I had to pick something out, I don't like how. That's not really a problem, but it's really separate from the other MCU to me. Like them talking about Thanos, sure, but we don't see them like observing any of the MCU events that we know of. Like they're not. I don't know. Like I thought it would be like around watching some of those things. It'll just be fun to see them. Oh, look what Thanos is doing. Like, I don't know. just I don't know, just being funny, like place of bets. I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny to see them watching the events that we're like, you guys could help, but you're not doing anything. You're just sitting here watching everybody die. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's something I would like to see. I'm more thinking about, I guess, the overall thing about this and when they'll come back and Ebony Blade and I don't know. This movie didn't give me the one thing I did have a problem with. I thought it would give me X-Men. I honestly thought this was gonna somehow cause X-Men.
You think everything's gonna be connected to X-Men, huh? You said that.
I mean, they gotta bring them some kind of way. Like they gotta do it eventually. Like,
yeah, but I don't think it would have been the Eternals.
Got a little bit of time until then.
Why not?
Well, no. To be fair to Trayvon, in the comics, not the Eternals, the Celestials did create mutants.
The mutant gene, yes, but
right. So it's very possible they could have at least said that they had planted the seed, which resulted in the mutant gene. Because me and Joel had speculated 2 years ago when they announced this that this is how we would get mutants in the MCU. So I was shocked that we got no nod to that.
Nothing.
But then again, the biggest problem is we don't know how they're giving us mutants. They could do it through the multiverse. They could do it through
I hope they don't do it that way.
Trust me, Trayvon. I hope not either.
Mm-hmm.
I told you what I'd prefer. I prefer that they're on the island that Magneto created for me. But yeah, no. So I will back you on that, Trayvon. I did think that this movie would at least hint at the accuracy of how we get the mutants, you know? So when it didn't, I was just like, Feige's putting a lot of pressure on this X-Men movie whenever it comes out to literally explain everything. How they got there, how long they've been here, who were the selected few, was the first original mutant the same as in the comics, which was Apocalypse. It's a lot you got to chew in that one movie. So
technically in this movie, it's already been stated that the Celestials are the ones that created everything within this universe. So they can always say within the X-Men that they were created by the Celestials still. So there's really they didn't really have to directly.
Well, where are they now, though? That's the problem. Like, where are they right now?
Well, we don't have to worry about that right now. We got to worry about it when it happens.
I'm gonna worry about it when the movie comes out. I'm gonna worry about where they were all this time.
No, that's fair for Trayvon to say, because again, this isn't like, oh man, how come we didn't get anything about the X-Men and WandaVision? Like, I get not putting it in that, but the Celestials are directly involved with the birth of mutants. So it's like, well, if it's not here, no problem. That just means you're putting all of the pressure on the actual X-Men movie to explain it all. And if that's the case, I'll worry about it then. No problem. If when we get there, you answer all my questions instead of giving me more questions.
Well,
I'll do exactly what you said, AJ. I'll worry about it then. But I think we know that Marvel has a way of creating more questions than answers. So we'll get to the X-Men movie and they'll never say where they were. We're just like, no. Hold on now. The movie was great. But where the hell were you? Like, what you been doing this whole time? You know, to me, that's more prevalent than how come the Eternals didn't stop Thanos. Where the hell was Magneto? Magneto didn't see that popping off and go, wait a minute, hold on. If he snapped,
I can see why. Actually, now that I think about it, I can see why they wouldn't interfere with that. Well, at least with me, story-wise, I would say that that Magneto and all the mutants just gave up on humanity, because in the comics we already know the racism, bigotry, all of that stuff with between mutants and humans, and mutants believe that they're a higher evolutionary of mankind. So
that's how
if Thanos is the one that helps them like erase all of humanity, all of people in the world, they're like, hell, we don't have to do anything about that. So let's just stay where we're at and just relax.
I mean, behalf of them too, though.
It would be, yeah, it would be. Yeah. Essentially, yeah, it would. But here's the thing, and we're not going to stay on this because this isn't about the X-Men. The whole hating mutants and whatnot, that's not something we know to exist. You know what I'm saying? We know why. So to just throw that in there is like that was a subplot in between the first Iron Man movie and now wouldn't make sense. You'd have to say this has been something since like the 50s and the 60s that they've been dealing with. But anyway, to loop it back to the Eternals, because I know Trayvon and his flying. He needs his flying. That man loves him some flying. Be a pilot, Trayvon. Be a pilot so you can fly.
I'm good with watching it. That's about it. Like, and I've gotten on one plane in my life. It's cool from afar. Like, that's about it.
I don't know what you're gonna do for an Eternal sequel when none of them fly, and you're just like, all of y'all are grounded. Y'all just run fast or walk. I don't get it.
Now Makari can help me, and I mean she's badass. I admit the speed, the running through time zones. I love that. Now that was cool.
I love that a lot. I love that.
I want to point this out. This might give me some little bit of hate. I just want to say the battle against Ikaris, Makari, Gilgamesh, and Athena.
No, Gilgamesh. Not Gilgamesh. He died before then.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fastos. Yeah. Yeah. I felt like that was a better fight than Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg.
Why? Why do we have to do this, AJ? Why?
Thank you, AJ.
The better executed type of. This is what it should have been. And
thank you.
Instead of,
did you even see it, Tia?
Handling everyone at the same
time. Did you even see Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I did. I sat my ass down and I said, if I'm going to critique this, I have to watch it.
Well, it is a critique.
I know what I'm talking about. It.
No. And I hope you have that same thought for Hawkeye, Tia, because you'll need to watch that.
Wait. Go on. What about Hawkeye? Hold on. What?
You already know. We're not going to get into that. You already know.
I'm not even going to get into that. But I was going to.
I gotta tell you something. You might hate me for this, but the battle between Ikaris, Fastos, Makari is a better version of Superman and Aquaman and Cyborg.
Joel's not gonna back you on this because
it is a better version of.
He's gonna say there's no
that's
need
good
to
for
compare.
you. I mean,
he's gonna say there's no need to compare. Joel, go ahead, because I feel like that's exactly what you're gonna say.
What was he saying?
In battle with Ikaris, Makari, Fastos, and Athena was a better fight sequence than Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Flash.
I guess. I mean, I don't see a reason to compare it, but
I told you.
I just think it's different circumstances.
But I understand. I understand what AJ's saying. It's like an inner working fight and everything. Like you have your Superman and you have your Ikaris, who's essentially the MCU's Superman, and you have the team trying to stop this OP character.
For me, it's story-wise. I felt like the fight at the end of the scene of Eternal, it had more desperation than in Justice League. I felt like,
to be fair, AJ,
situation was different.
The first Justice League movie we saw was an incohesive story. We know that. We know that it was.
I'm just talking about that one. I'm just talking about the fight. I'm not talking about the whole story in general. I'm just talking about that one.
Well, the fight.
No, go ahead, Joel.
Well, I mean, the Justice League fight, especially, is they weren't trying to. They were just trying to survive more than actually fight him.
Right. They were trying not to get their ass whooped.
They were actually trying to fight.
They were trying to survive with Ikaris too.
Well, but they were trying to hurt Ikaris as well. Yeah, right. Ikaris was trying to hurt them. So it was like it was very different. And the fact, they didn't want to hurt Superman. They wanted to stop Superman.
And Superman wasn't in his right mind. If he was in his right mind, this is all new.
Right. Yeah. Also,
Superman's a character that they don't need to hold back on because he can handle himself no matter what.
Ikaris, they didn't hold back on Ikaris. They didn't hold back on Ikaris.
Exactly. I felt like the reason why they didn't hold back on Ikaris is because they really couldn't.
They were upset.
They were fearful. They were fearful of Ikaris.
And the thing. No, I was just gonna say really quick, and if we are comparing the two, right? The rest of the team loved Superman, right? And I'm not defending the Snyder Cut. I'm just saying they loved Superman, and they didn't want to fight Superman. But it seemed like everyone wanted to freaking fight Ikaris. Like Drew's like, man, I've been waiting forever to do this shit. Fastos was like, holy crap,
exactly. That's why he died.
I was like, Damn.
Yes, I'm glad.
Everyone
I'm glad for
was
that.
like-
I will say
Yes.
this, and I'm going to pass it to you, Joel, to go against the whole point you were making here with Eternals, AJ. And I brought this up before, so I want to get your thoughts on it, Joel. I was saying how I didn't even like that they didn't just go the more obvious route. If one of the Eternals were to go bad, you picked the wrong one to be the one to go bad. I kind of get why you did because of how strong he is. You literally couldn't have Druig go bad, and then it's like, well, it's them trying to defeat Ikaris, because it's like, well, you'll get the same result essentially. So you needed someone strong enough to be your fall guy for the rest of the guys to come together to beat somebody. But I was saying, Joel, you had that in your bad deviant. Why not just use the deviant in that and have it be to where it's just Ikaris and Cersei having the battle between those two. And the rest of them are all trying to fight the deviant. Because you essentially just put the deviant and Thena off to the side for them to have a moment that should have been bigger, but it was kind of nullified. It was nullified because it's like, well, that's not even the most important thing that's happening right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know,
I would like to have what's his name? Crow. Yeah, I don't know why I said Ergo. Crow. I feel like
I thought you were mixing characters.
Yeah, I'm my brain's all over the place right now. I feel like that he should have taken more of their powers. That way, see what I would have thought would have happened was that he would have took Ikaris's powers and he would have died there. That way, everybody else would have had to fight Crow, which is what I was hoping for, but
Which
never.
was basically Gilgamesh, Ikaris, Ajax, and one.
Yeah,
that would have been ridiculous.
Which would have been, but then again, but here's the problem: nobody left would have been strong enough. So it's like, well, you essentially just made Brawly and told Krillin and Gohan to defeat him, and it's like, well, they can't do that. They don't possess the strength to do that. So that's why it's like, I get it, but Ikaris had shown he couldn't defeat a deviant by himself. He had struggled in the woods.
I will argue that with Ikaris, he wasn't really trying because he still needed them for
that deviant was about to kill him when he was using his lasers.
He
slammed his head down. I don't know. To me, it's like, if you're Ikaris, I don't understand in that moment why you would put.
I believe that he was trying. I believe that he was trying to trick everybody, believing that he was trying to die for a cause. That way they wouldn't realize that he betrayed them until the end.
Distracting them. That was kind of his plan. It was like trying to hold it off until they can't do anything about it. Like, oh well. Like,
so then let me ask you, Joel. You thought that was playing when the deviant was like slamming his head to the ground? And
no. I'm just saying that was part of his plan, like to distract them. Like,
okay, I got you.
Kind of prolong everything so they don't like. So he didn't want to hurt their feelings, but at the same time, he didn't want them to stop what was coming because that's what he felt was right. You know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Crow versus the team would have been something to see, even if it's just some of the smaller characters in Thena, and then it's just the big battle between Ikaris and Cersei. I could have accepted, but to have Crow and Thena just off in the little cave, you know what I'm saying? To me, it felt very isolated, and it didn't really give either one of them a big moment that they should have gotten. Thena coming through. Working through all her problems, and Crow being this big bad. I compared it, Joel, to us not us, but watching Iron Man 3, where you're kind of just like, all right, Mandarin's coming, and then you get what's his name as the actual big bad, and you're kind of just like, huh? Like, why did you go that route? I don't understand. You could have just made that a little bit clearer. Go ahead, Trayvon.
I just think Crow was just there to let them know that they were both created by the same thing. And for me, what it made me think of about their abilities, they made it seem like they couldn't use them technically on each other. Like, I was like, why didn't Druig use his mind control on Ikaris or try to? Or it seemed like Ajax could heal them, could use like the power to heal each one of them if she wanted to. So why couldn't Druig use it to subdue him or whatever? Like, I don't know. They never tried to.
I will argue that they all have their limits. With Ajax, there really is no limit to heal somebody, really. But with Druig, he does have a limit to control somebody's mind.
I mean, he controlled like 100 people at once, though. Like
stronger than him. I don't think, especially mentally.
Wait, go ahead, Joel.
No, I don't. I mean, he was conversating. No, yeah, they never showed that he can or cannot do an Eternal, and I don't remember ever that being a thing in the comic book because I didn't read enough of that to know.
I mean, he was getting ready to do a Celestial. I was like,
that's what I'm saying. But he said he obviously couldn't do it with his by him, alone.
Yeah.
But can he do an Eternal? He might be able to do an Eternal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was telling them, Joel, the shot of Ikaris at the end where he's shooting the lasers up in the sky, love that. Now, I do want to ask you this, Joel, because me and Trayvon are more accepting of it. I originally wasn't. AJ and Tia swear this isn't true.
What?
I was of the mindset that Richard Madden, when he first was given this role, it was understood it was only this movie. Tia and AJ are of the mindset we didn't see him actually perish, so he could return.
Wait. I just want to point this out before Joel goes. Okay, I'm not betting on the fact that Ikaris didn't die. Okay, he probably did. But I would like for him to come back because I am a selfish person. I am a Richard Madden stan. And I'm an Ikaris apologist. So yes, I would love for Ikaris to come back, but I did have to go through the depression of realizing he probably wouldn't, which by the way, I was a little mad because and I'm sorry, Joel, I'm not trying to take this from you. I'm just saying, I think you and I, John, even talked about this, that there was a rumor a long time ago before the movie even came out that Ikaris would be the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I even talked about no, probably not. And then as soon as that turn happened, I was like, wow, the rumor was right.
Yeah, you had asked me about that when me and Joel went to the screener. You had asked me about
that. I was like, I want to know, but I also don't want to know.
Right. And when you asked me that, I was kind of just like, damn, they might actually do that. If he is asking me, they might actually do that. And then we're watching, it's just like, me no likey that.
I mean, you had Droog right there who was acting suspicious as hell.
I'm like, but no, that's what I'm saying.
Put that in the trailer on purpose like that to make it look like he was.
But that's what I'm saying.
Even in the movie though, he was acting like that Droog. He really was acting as if he was going to be some evil mastermind or something.
I took it differently, and Joel, I want to go into your thought. I took it differently because I took it as he was standing up for the fact that he thought allowing these things to happen was wrong.
Right.
And really the moment where a lot of people are speaking of where it was all right, he's a little devious, was when they first came to meet him again for the first time in present day. But he was just more of an asshole. He wasn't I could kill you guys right now. It was more so just he's just an a-hole. That's what I took it as. So I'm at no point in my mind did they set him up to where you could even look at him he's gonna betray them at some point, because he had a million chances to do so and didn't take any of them. So to me, I didn't see it as that. But Joel, two-parter, do you think this is the last we've seen of Ikaris? And did you like using Ikaris in that manner, or would you have liked to have used Droog because he was literally right there?
Well, that's probably what, at least my during my first showing of the movie, that was probably my biggest hurdle, because I really liked Ikaris going into the movie, and I liked him throughout the movie, and then the turn happened, and I'm like, oh no, they didn't do that, did they? And they did do it, and I was like, fuck. And then it made me feel differently towards the movie when they made him not the villain, because he's not wrong what he was saying, you know what I mean? And Kingo agreed with him. He walked out, you know what I mean?
I have a thought about that. Go ahead.
That he's not wrong.
You thought he was wrong?
I thought Kingo and Sprite were stupid to follow him like they did, but that's just my thoughts.
Wait, so you thought Ikaris was wrong?
Yeah, I do.
Do you often betray your parents? No,
he never even met Arishem. He never even talked to him before.
So, first of all, we don't know that because he didn't around for the longest time, and he didn't
have any memory of talking to Arishem. How about that? Is that better?
Never
lost on Earth. If we're going just off of what the movie told us, in the movie only, he made it very clear that anything that came from them came through Ajax. and that's
Right.
how they know anything of what they're supposed to do. They just know who they are. You know, I don't think they've literally been in front of him for him
Yeah,
to
just-
talk to them
yeah.
individually.
Mhm.
I'm not saying at some point maybe they didn't see him, but through this movie, they did not make it clear that they've ever seen him. They just relay. Ajax just relays the
And
message.
Cersei, AJ and
She's the
Cersei.
only one that
Cersei.
can talk. Whoever's chosen.
Right,
To-
right.
yeah,
And we
right.
know,
At this point, it was Ajax and
whoever's
whatever
chosen,
chose.
but they all been. For me personally, I feel like they've all been chosen at a certain point in time,
It's possible.
depending on
but they got
No,
mine back,
I'm
though.
saying, I'm saying the memory of it. That's
Right.
all I'm saying. I'm not-
Yeah, but
they-
Ikaris never lost any of his memories.
They all have.
They all
lost
did.
their
Not
memory.
Ikaris.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Yes, they were all brand new in that ship.
Bersham said it. He said you guys, there's clones here. You're like
The
one of
only-
a
the
million
only
times
one-
have done this.
It was Dina that started remembering
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Beyond
Dina was
that,
the
and
only
only
one
one.
whose memory was right. So someone up there was fucking up on Thena and was just like,
Yeah.
did I clean her? I know
Nah,
I did.
didn't.
I know I did. You know the feeling you get where you're like, I know I turned the oven off, and it's just like, shit, let me run back inside. I didn't turn it off. That's how they felt about Thena. But no, so let me just ask this, and we're gonna go back to Joel. So you're saying, Trayvon, you thought he should have went against the Celestials?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, Joel, you were struggling with that when we first went to go see it. The idea of doing that to Ikaris, because you just built him up so cool.
He was cool.
He's so cool.
He
He
was.
was so cool.
He was basically Marvel Superman, so I was already embracing that.
Right.
He did that, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Well, nothing for me. Nothing really changed with the character of Ikaris throughout this movie because technically he is known to be the most loyal of the Eternals.
And the leader, and the actual leader. Like Ajax wasn't the leader in the
comics. So technically,
but Ajax was still the person that talked to the
right. Yes, that was true. Yeah, that
Well,
was.
they did keep calling Ikaris boss.
Yeah.
Each and every one
that-
of them kept going boss.
Two of them did that. The super loyal, stupid people.
Well, no,
Oh my God, Trayvon.
Well, I'll say this.
That was so weird.
Fastos had more
They're
of a
both in
disdain.
love with him. It was crazy. Both of them were in love with him. That's what I got.
Fastos had more of a disdain for Ikaris, but everybody else had a high respect in regard for Ikaris. It was just that Fastos passed them. Fastos was more so just like, you've always been a pompous a-hole. And like at some point, I wanted to do this, but I never could. But everybody else didn't see him like that.
Also, even in the comics, there's been multiple types of Eternals that betray one another. We had Druid that betrayed the Eternals multiple times. Fastos within the recent issue betrayed the Eternals as well.
You did.
So for me, it's clear that someone other than Druid was the.
It was.
They're like siblings. Siblings always fight with each other.
Right.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Why they
when you do the whole.
It's they're basically like brothers and sisters at this point, and you have.
I know.
Really,
I love
not
when
really.
I love when they're like family
Wait, hold on.
reunion, and it's like what?
They're made by the same person.
They were created, AJ.
They were
not,
made.
there's no
They're made.
bloodline.
Doesn't matter. They were still created by the same person.
No,
Well, you saw in the beginning, they said they introduced each other. It's not they didn't grow up together.
right.
They were adults already.
You know what I compare? You know what I compare it to,
Oh,
Joel?
yes,
I compare it to the same way people for years have been trying to make people feel bad about shipping Iris and Barry.
No, yeah.
I compare it to that.
In
There's
the
no
show.
blood,
Yeah.
right? There's no blood. There's no blood at all. So I'm like, if they want to date, is it a little like technically she grew up supposed to be your sister? Yes,
Yeah, but you also had a crush on her.
But
like, when he was a kid.
they're not
Right,
related
right.
at all, though.
They're not related.
They don't have the same.
Eternals
parents.
aren't either.
And the
Obviously.
Eternals
that's what I'm
have
saying.
the
The Eternals aren't either. They were literally just created like in tubes, AJ. You can't hold them to being brothers and sisters to be created in
They
tubes.
barely knew each other when
Yeah.
they first got there.
Right. And you know what, AJ? Here you go. Because there's been so many different versions of them, maybe there is a version where they're just like, we're all family. We can't date. There you
Okay.
go.
All right, you're right. You're right. You're
Maybe
right.
there's a version of
that.
In the last planet, wherever they were at.
Yeah, the last planet that got destroyed, they were all just like, you know what, brothers and
Siblings.
sisters.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
But I want to get to before we start to wrap it up. I want to get to the end credit scene. I want to start off with the first one, not go right to the juicy second one. Let's start
A
with
good one.
they were both good.
They're both good.
They're both good. Now, if you want to deem which one you cared about, fair, but they were both good. They were both good. The implications that I got from the first one, and now I'm gonna go around. Okay, the implications I got is now that we got Star Fox, and we now know that he has the ability to also communicate with Celestials. I do believe we're getting to an high evolutionary court. I do believe we're getting there where it will be Cersei versus Harisham, and they are before the Living Tribunal. I think that's what they're building up to. I think Star Fox is going to not find the others. He obviously just did. I think he is going to help them, like he said, find the others that were taken. And ultimately, because Harisham said it, you got to prove to me Earth is worthy, right? I think ultimately Harisham is not willing to accept that Earth is worthy. But I do.
Throwing me off. I thought it was another character when you said that.
Wait, say it again.
That's Harisham.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute, who is
Harisham.
that? I wanted to ask. Yeah, okay.
It's not Harisham. It's Harisham.
No, it's Harisham.
Harisham.
Okay.
So I think that's what it's building to. And by the way, there has not been a better casting in the MCU than getting Patton Oswalt to be.
You mean Haley Steinfeld as?
Hawkeye.
There's not been a better casting. Make sure I said that again. Than getting Patton to be the voice. It's just it fits. It fits. And remember, this is a character we thought what's his name was in Infinity War. We thought we were going to see this character back in Infinity War because of the ties to Thanos and whatnot. But I love that we got it. And when me and Joel went to the screener, they did not show an end credit scene. So Joel had to go see it again. Dom told me that Harry got super jacked for this role. So I'm expecting like a super jacked Harry Styles. And then when I see the end credit scene, I'm like, Dom, he doesn't look that much different than he usually does. Like Dom made me think I was about to see this dude like jacked. So I saw him and I was just like, nah, he looks just super normal, Dom. But it was good to see.
Already perfect.
Wait, would you say Trayvon?
Nothing.
Trayvon was fawning over Harry.
I say he's already perfect. He's already perfect.
Oh,
it's fine.
Got you. No problem. I got you.
It's fine.
It depending on what they. No, go ahead.
He reminded his and like I like Harry Styles too. This is not like a slight against Harry Styles. I also knew Harry Styles was going to be in the movie beforehand, just because someone posted a picture, of course, on Tumblr before I went to go see it. But I like that he was playing his character like a less drunken version of Jack Sparrow. I was like, this could be interesting. I like this.
Now I do want to mention this, Joel. Remember how we were in a car and we were talking about why they decided to make Hank so old and then just go with the new Ant-Man, right? Because now Star Fox in the comics, if you thought what Hank Pym did to Wasp was bad, Star Fox had some shit in his closet that he went through in the comics. We won't get into it here, but if you want to know, just Google it.
Pretty much, you know.
But
all of our emotions, you know, he got pheromones. It can make you fall in love with him.
Yes. And it went the wrong
way. Harry Styles doesn't need that. He already has an army behind him.
That's why I said this casting is essentially perfect, because you could have it to where you make a joke about it that people just look at him and automatically, he doesn't even have to do anything. It's just, shit, you're beautiful, you know? So I'm like, they could really have fun with this character. But I am curious what the long-term purpose of Star Fox is. Because a lot of Star Fox's nucleus of his story was around the Infinity War. Was a lot of his story. So I'm like, I wonder what going forward a lot of this story is going to be. And if he mentions his relationship to Thena, because it didn't seem as though they were going to mention Thena's relationship to Thanos. So I'm curious of the bloodline there, of them being cousins, them just being cousins.
We brothers.
No. Star Fox and Athena being cousins.
Oh, Athena. Okay.
Yeah. Because they never got into that. Joel, I want
they're gonna be cousins. Based on what he said to her.
I want to ask you this, Joel, because we talked about this, and I was saying how me and you thought this years ago. Were you at all surprised that they didn't mention the Celestials bringing on any other genes outside of the Eternals and the Deviants, knowing what we're going to be getting within the next few years with the X-Men? Were you surprised at all?
Am I surprised?
Were you surprised that they didn't mention that the Celestials were responsible for the mutant gene?
I guess a little bit. Not that they were going to be blunt about it. Could have like alluded to it or something. Right. But now that we know, at least in the movie, the Celestials had planting seeds and birthing other Celestials. That was like a circle.
Right.
It's less, it's less about science and seeing things grow and seeing how it goes. So yeah, I guess based on their storyline, it doesn't make as much sense. So now again, we have the question of how are they going to introduce mutations?
But that's what I was saying, Joel. I was saying how if it wasn't mentioned or at least teased in this, and again, this is for Feige and them to figure out. I'm not racking my head about it, but it's now stacking the deck on all the shit you have to explain once you give us an X-Men movie.
Yeah. I'll wrap my head. So I'm not sure you guys will like this, but I do believe that the multiverse will still start to happen. And within Multiverse of Madness, I do believe there will be like a split or a rift, and we'll start to get introduced to different Earths. That way, you can still introduce the X-Men in a way where everything can still be organic. I believe that there will be still different Earths in there. We will have 616, which is the MCU. We'll have whatever number Earth, 17777, whatever. Within this, I know you don't like that, but
it's too lazy. It's too lazy. It's there's just better ways to do it. It's too late. That's your way of saying, you know what? We didn't want to put people in a room and have to think. So here you go. We just drag them over from somewhere else.
I just think the problem, comes from, it's just if they do it now, we can't get Professor X. We can't get Magneto. I just feel like they can't do them. They can't do those characters. They can do just New Mutants, I guess, but nobody will.
You mean if
why can't they do them?
If they introduce them right now, like usually they're during the Holocaust.
Oh, you're saying
all the different,
you're
all
saying
the history
here is like
I agree with that. It's very hard to do that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But that's why I said Trayvon. That's why I always said if this whole thing had been a problem in the 50s or the 60s, right, and that was a whole thing, and they were banished. So Magneto had their own land, and that's where they've been. I would much rather that.
They could do that. They could
from somewhere else.
Yes, they could.
They've kind of done that in the comic books lately with Krakoa.
Yeah, so I'm like, I would much rather that, because to me, it starts to do what you wanted in WandaVision, Trayvon. When you open that bag of worms, saying that you're plucking them from somewhere, people are going to then begin to want to see familiar faces plucked, and then when you do that, it just opens a can of worms you can't close, and I want new. I've seen that. I want new. And if you're something we know, we can't get new.
Well, okay. So if you don't like the multiverse idea,
I don't.
And they can already be established within the MCU, much like what Joel was saying. They can already be within like the island of Krakoa. They can do that.
Yeah.
To separate everybody from the humans and the.
Because here's why, AJ. Here's why it's not so hard to wrap our heads around the fact that they've been here, but they're just not here. We just watched Captain Marvel, and not one person, once they answered it, said, "Well, why didn't you have her come back and help with Loki, and then have her come back?" Everyone just understood she's off world. So to have them on an island that's just like completely excommunicated from everything. It makes sense. It would essentially make sense, and I could accept that over plucking them from somewhere else. I could buy that and accept it because I just saw it with Captain Marvel.
I mean, it's almost in its own right. It's basically changing already the history of the way things are in the comic. But that's what the MCU does already.
Right.
So for them to go and start with Krakoa and have them be living there, and then maybe branching opposite, maybe going back to the mainland again at some point. It's different, but it's not unreasonable.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trayvon.
One thing I thought about, remember the earthquake that was under the ocean that Okoye talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm starting to think maybe it was just the celestial.
I'm praying that was still left. Again, the person who
just like, damn it.
There's no. I don't believe in coincidences, right? The person who mentioned it is now in the movie that we're being rumored of getting Submariner. So I'm hoping that that's still connected to that. That's still Submariner.
I'm pretty sure that fucking thing coming out of the ocean did something to the ocean. And that man cannot be happy about whatever.
Not at all.
True. Okay, yeah.
Not at all. That man has to be just like, yo, I'm already dealing with your pollution. Now I got beings coming up out of my water. You just destroyed a whole throne. Yeah. So he's gonna pop up and take it out on Wakanda. But all right, this final end credit scene is one that went ablaze. Now I will say this. Chloe Zhao did come out and say that the voice was indeed Mahershala's Blade. I know. I know when Dom first told me, he thought it was Nick. He thought it might have been Nick Fury.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, a lot of people weren't really sure. Because it just. No, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, because when I was watching it too, I know a lot of people. I had one. My niece even came out. Was that Nick Fury? I'm like, what? Do all black people sound alike? No, that does not. That didn't even sound like him.
But you know how Nick Fury is. He always coming out the.
I get it. But I'm like, it didn't sound like.
But to be fair, the one bit of bail I will shoot them is, it's the one thing you weren't expecting. Is the voice of Blade. So rationally, you're thinking, well, it can't be anyone. It can't be someone else. So it has to be someone we would recognize.
I hoped, because I remember thinking to myself, like, it sounded like it might be him, but I couldn't be sure. I just knew it wasn't him. Or I know some people thought maybe Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher. I'm like, I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm like, again, it didn't. It sounded younger, I guess, to me, or it just sounded different. So I'm like doing like the math in my head. I was like, I hope it is him, because that would be fucking insane. But I have no confirmation of that. But just thinking, and then the next day that she confirms it, I was like,
well, there we go. Because I know Kanan asked me, he's like, well, why would it even be Blade? And I'm like, well, in the comics, they were on a team. They were on a team together.
But it's a supernatural sword, and you're dealing with supernatural, Blade supernatural. I mean, that's easy, man.
Right. And now what I can say now definitively, Trayvon, what we were alluding to yesterday on our pod, but I didn't want to spoil it for Jamie, was that sword. And look, I know Juwan's always a person to look too deep into some shit. But that sword started to move.
Yes, it did.
With his fingers.
Yes, it did.
And I, as a person who read this comic, I read a comic where he thought that was his family heirloom blade until Blade told him, that's not what you think it is. And that led to Dracula, I think it was.
Yeah,
it led to Dracula. That was the sword that we'll be seeing in Thor Love and Thunder, that we know also came from. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tia.
No. Finish your thought. I can wait.
Oh, no. I was just gonna say that that sword has a legacy, and now that Venom's part of this world, if that sword is what I think it is, that sword started off on Venom's home world with Null. That sword was then stolen by Gore the God Butcher. So then my question is, well, Gore the God Butcher's coming, so that sword can't be that if we haven't even seen Gore the God Butcher yet.
Well,
go ahead.
They can still fix it in a way that Gore the God Butcher still steals the sword, because
from Dane Whitman.
Oh yeah. So that can still happen.
It's just a better way to explain how it got there.
No, it's just more confusing. Of like, I can understand Gore the God Butcher going to the symbiote planet and stealing it from Null. I don't understand how it got from Null to Earth, is what I'm saying. That's what makes less sense.
You can always say that it came down to Earth, much like what Venom did. He came down to Earth with Spider-Man. So it's
okay.
You can always go around the story from the comics.
You definitely can finagle it because they're gonna probably combine a couple of stories.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I thought it was very important that Venom was this close to telling Eddie about everything. And now we're seeing a sword that
not everything. He was going to give him a small portion because his brain wouldn't be able to handle everything.
right. But no, so when I saw that, I immediately went, oh my God, that's Blade talking, right? And then everyone's just like, well, why would Blade? I don't care why Blade would ask him that. That doesn't matter to me. Blade asked him. That's all I care about. Now it just opens the door for all the mythical goodness that we need and that we want. Right.
And then you add no, go on.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say? And I'm passing it to you. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say then you add Moon Knight, which is still supernatural.
We got Werewolf by Night.
Morbius. What about Morbius?
Yes, Morbius. Yeah, Morbius has an in here because again, I do not believe they should tell the full story of Blade in this MCU origin without the fact that Morbius exists in the MCU.
That's why I believe that the MCU and Sony are still going to stick together after No Way Home. So,
right.
100%.
100%. So Joel, we talked about this a long time ago. When it first happened, we said there's no way that if you're Sony and if anyone there knows anything about comics, they're about to do Blade. There's no way you have Morbius here and they have Blade and you're not finding a way to bring your peanut butter and jelly together. Right. You know what I'm saying? There's just no way. There's absolutely no way.
Gotta get that bite.
I think Feige
100%. Blade needs that bite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was saying that I think Feige mentioned it or like during one of the interviews that like we shouldn't have that problem again anytime soon.
Right. Yeah. He recently said that, and I think what he meant by that was essentially what we're saying, which was we have so much stuff we're about to mix together. A whole bunch of chocolates being put in somebody's peanut butter over in Sony and Disney. But Tia, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts seeing that last end credit scene? And how Dane just looked as though like he wanted to do something to go save Cersei. But there was so many moments in that one little scene that he was just like, I don't even know if I could do this. like this is a whole nother thing from what I'm used to.
It's so funny because I don't know a whole lot about Dane or his character or anything like that, but you gave me some background. I think either one of the times we were talking or on a podcast or something. So, when I was seeing that moment where Dane was starting to say to Cersei, hey, so my family history is like complicated. I thought that's the only thing that they were going to do. And in a way I was like, man, if you're not like an extreme comic book reader, that's going to make zero sense to you. And I was like, I kind of don't understand why they even would put that then. But then when they did it, and then finally, so first of all, I love Dane being just so nervous about opening it up. He was like, oh shit. I like that. I'm telling you, I like Kit Harington in this role. So I thought it was cool. So it's cool hearing you guys talk about it because I'm learning more about it, because honestly I really have no idea about this character, as I am with most of these Marvel characters. I just learn as the movies go and I'm happy about it. So I'm like, this is cool. I didn't realize that was Blade's voice. I didn't think it was Nick Fury. I didn't know who it was. It was just too quick for me, I was he was scared, I was scared, we were all scared when a voice just came out of nowhere. So I did like that they put that. And Juwan, honestly, like I thought of you when that happened. I was like, oh, Juwan's gonna be happy. Well, I know you had already seen it, so I guess I was like, he's happy about that.
No, I did love it, and kudos to Chloe Zhao, because the most important part of that end credit scene wasn't even him saying anything, wasn't with the sword. It was the fact that Dane looked up. So that means that scene is probably attached to that Blade movie once they make it, because we'll see him actually walking up to him, and we'll get a more complete story as to what that was, why, so I'm like, I love it because he kind of looks up, just what the fuck is that? Like, who is that? So I love that, and I absolutely thought that was necessary. And now because without me and Joel seeing the end credit scene, I very much felt like Dane Whitman really served no true purpose of this movie because I didn't have the end credit scene.
Oh,
But
that's
why they
right. That's right.
implemented them.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
but no,
saying.
I agree. But like my thing with Dane, they took because they could have went the traditional route. In the comic books, it was Margot, some chick that Ikaris was hooking up with, human. But they said, nah, fuck, it makes more sense to introduce a character that means something later and him still be the human character of the story. And they went with Dane Whitman. And I thought that makes way more sense. And Cersei was going to be the main character anyway, more or less. They're going to make Ikaris more of like antagonist. I thought it was perfect switcheroo because no one gives a fuck about Margot anyway.
Right. and when you piece together the end credit scene with everything else with Dane Whitman, it's like it's one nice puzzle. But without the end credit scene, you're kind of just like, well.
But the whole movie they gave you little teases about his background. You're like his pen, the family crest and the ring that she got for him. The talk about his uncle, the whole thing with his uncle, and then of course him at the end stumbling and saying, "Look, my history is a little different than when there's more to me than meets the eye,"
Right.
And of course, then we finally get the scene at the end. So
yeah. I really truly love that. Like that was great. AJ, you were foaming at the mouth to talk about this yesterday about this end credit scene. So clearly I know you enjoyed it. But what did you want to say? Because you were trying to say it yesterday, but we couldn't spoil it for Jamie.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot.
He was so when I posted the episode, he was so excited to talk about this movie. I mean, this end credit scene, but we couldn't spoil it for Jamie.
Oh no! I already said what I was going to say. I was going to say how everything is going to connect. How it's going to connect to Noel and Gore the God Butcher and all of that, and Morbius. All of that was going to connect because of this one scene. And then you have the Eternals, which I really did like about this movie. It felt disconnected from the other events of the MCU, because the Eternals are they at a certain point they don't really care. I wouldn't say care, but they don't really like to dabble within the human type element action. So like Doctor Strange, he doesn't really deal with earthly matters. He deals with the mystical elements and all of that.
Right.
So for them to be separate from everything else, but still be connected, I feel like it's a good option, especially since Eternals lore is really, really deep. I mean, a Game of Thrones type deep, basically. There's a lot you can deal with, a lot of homes and all of that. So there's a lot you can do with the Eternals as itself. And then you have the Celestials, and you have that little tidbit that they disappeared, the Celestials, and who was with them? It was Cersei.
When Arishem came?
Yeah, it was Cersei.
It was Cersei, Phastos, Kingo.
That was it. It was three people, yeah.
It was three.
There's a lot you can. Is much like what Trayvon said, it's a huge mess for us right now, but I feel like it's all going to come together at a certain point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was impressed because I thought the Eternals was going to do something like what James Gunn did with the Guardians. Like there was a Guardians team before this Guardians team in the comics. But obviously he did it the opposite way. He did it where this was where he started us off with this original Guardians and then kind of just alluded to them and that they might want to do a spinoff at some point or whatever towards the end. I thought Eternals was only going to focus on this core group. And I remember telling Joel, I really felt as though the only one that was going to survive from this was Cersei. I really did think this was Chloe Zhao was going to do this one and done piece about the Eternals, so we can get the history of the X gene, the deviants, the humans, and then Cersei, because they were going to bring on Cersei and Dane Whitman to the Avengers. So to see them end it, where really only a few of them died, because there were 10, only a few of them died. I was just like, right. And then obviously there's more. They're introducing Star Fox, and then, obviously there's more that they're going to go out and venture to. I was shocked. I was just like, I really thought Eternals would be, that's it. Cersei would be the last living Eternal. And that would be it. So I was very shocked. I was very shocked on where they decided to go, because it was the opposite of what James did with the Guardians. So I was expecting the opposite way back. So I was impressed. I was definitely impressed. Let me ask you this, Joe, and then Trayvon, I'm going to go to you because you're about to ask something. AJ believes that there are numerous people in the MCU today that could stand toe-to-toe with Ikaris. Do you believe that there are people in the MCU today, hero-wise, that could stand toe-to-toe with Ikaris?
Yeah.
You do? Do you think Captain Marvel's one of them?
Yes.
You do? Toe-to-toe. No, we're not talking
Toe-to-toe.
about winners or losers, just toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
Toe to toe. She can go toe to toe.
I honestly
Absolutely.
thought Ikaris would dust Captain Marvel.
He didn't dust the other ones.
Well, that's because they're
Not
of
Hulk.
the
He
same-
wa- he
they're of the
wouldn't-
same breed, but
I
I
think-
didn't think her
Yeah.
photon energy would do anything to Ikaris. So essentially, it would just be she has a punch as hard as Ikaris.
I mean,
That's
she
what I
would
was
probably
saying.
absorb his energy too.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the thing.
Yeah, I thought about that's what I was thinking about.
She's
Oh,
a-
you say you're talking about when he uses his
Yeah.
It's like he even, yeah.
Oh, got it.
Like, when she goes
Yeah, but
binary, she
there
goes-
is an upper limit to how much Captain Marvel can.
Yeah, but I think she can go toe to toe with Ikaris. I think Thor can go toe to toe with Ikaris.
Thor, I didn't really think about, but Thor, I would accept. I would accept definitely a lot more. I would
Except
accept
Thor, not
Why is that?
Marvel.
Why is that?
Yeah, why is
I accept Thor more
Yeah,
because
why?
I think when Thor goes all father, it's stronger than anything Captain Marvel can do.
when
That's-
Captain Marvel goes binary? It's almost godlike. It's ridiculous.
That's what Thor's all father strength is when he finally becomes all father. It's beyond God's strength. It's why the comics never go back to that. It's why you only heard about it.
Well, it's also why they should never go into shit godlike. But you know,
right. But I'm saying that's why you only heard of Thor becoming all father once. It's something that only happened.
But they're getting a lot more into more powerful characters now.
Oh yeah,
Scarlet Witch, we're starting to get more into Scarlet Witch's
Scarlet Witch is very powerful. It's
We're
very
getting
Could
We're
she
getting,
absorb it? You
um,
think? See, they're like
Absorb,
ultimate
no.
batteries. The Eternals are like ultimate batteries based on what they said in the movie. Like they're continuously generating cosmic energy.
But that's
So I was
not
like,
that's
imagine
not
that.
something that's not something Wanda does. Dan
No,
Ritter
I'm saying
do that.
pulling it from them. I'm
Yeah.
saying like
can also be
Oh.
yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you. Wanda is one of those characters that enhances per writer. So I'm never really 100% sure what Wanda can and cannot do. Which is why when I look at Feige, I'm like, I have no idea how far they're going to go with Wanda becoming the Scarlet Witch. I have no idea. The man said in the same movie with Captain Marvel that the strongest Avenger was Wanda, and that was before she even became the Scarlet Witch. So I have no idea how strong Kevin Feige is about to make the Scarlet Witch. I have no idea. So I'm like, I don't know. She changes per writer.
I just feel like she can get more and more powerful as she absorbs more. That's why I wonder what Monica's gonna do. Like, cause she
But
can
see,
absorb baby
that's
Captain
what-
Marvel's powers.
That's what I'm trying to say,
So
though.
that'd be interesting.
I don't think her power is based off absorbing anything. I think her power is twofold. It's what she can actually do and what she's about to learn that she could do through the world of magic. So that's why I'm like, I don't know what the cap is.
It's mixing her current ability with magic, basically.
Right, because what
I don't think there will be a limit to how much she grows within the next few years of.
I hope so. You got to cap that shit.
You gotta kill her. You gotta kill her.
You got
gotta
to
kill her.
Well, you
gotta
gotta
cap
kill
it
her.
off.
They got to kill her. I mean, yeah, they're gonna kill her.
But
They're gonna kill her.
You're gonna have to
Cap her.
deal with the Phoenix Force, which we will definitely get when we get X-Men.
And like you said before, AJ, Adam is coming.
yeah,
Adam is
Warlock.
coming.
Um,
So it's
well,
like we're about to get some real potential. Not saying they need to be,
Big
but some
dogs.
real potential OP.
I wouldn't say OP. I would say less debuffed than they were before. Like in Phase 3, a lot of the characters were.
AJ, the reason why I say OP is you've read Captain America comics. I don't think you can point out many comics where he could hold a fucking helicopter from flying away. He made Captain America stronger than he was in the comics, which is why, in my mind, Feige very much likes to enhance his heroes and like decrease some of his villains.
You have to though.
Fancy.
Yeah,
You have to do
but
that.
he decreases some of the main heroes that have abilities. Like there's a
Vision,
lot.
yes. Vision, he But I think now that he's White Vision, I think his power levels will go to what we know them to be.
Yeah.
He's less emotional. He's just gonna just
Yeah.
fucking go.
Right. But the Vision we first got was very much just like, I'm watching Civil War and I'm just like, I'm not understanding why you had him here.
He's
Like,
not trying to kill them.
like,
Yeah.
That's what it
He's
is.
not
He's
trying
holding
to
back
kill
the
them.
whole fight.
Right.
We're not
I'm
to
trying
help
not to kill anyone.
Right. We saw
Yeah.
the one time he actually let loose in Civil War. It crippled
Yeah.
Rhodey.
Yeah, exactly. Whoops,
He's just
I
like,
didn't mean to do that. I didn't.
But no, I mean, look, I think where the MCU is going is a really interesting spot, especially if we get to the high evolutionary, you know, we get to the higher court systems of the Marvel universe. Because remember, we saw the Living Tribunal in Loki. We saw the statue.
Oh, statue.
Yeah, the statue. So I'm like,
Him
clearly,
and Doctor Strange.
bro, if just seeing that, because he's just like, where Kevin Feige is about to take us, I think I'm gonna just cry for every movie coming out, because it's just like it's uncharted territory. I remember thinking Guardians was uncharted territory, and then thinking Captain Marvel and expanding all of space, uncharted.
Eternals is uncharted.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, now
Ever.
he's getting into real uncharted territory where it's just like, bro, what?
You know, it's one.
If we get Eternity and
Bro, they're coming. They're
I will lose my
coming,
fucking
bro.
mind.
They're
They gotta
coming.
expand space because you know
Vanity, you got chaos you can use. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yes. And to know that now the worlds are mixing is just like, it's opening it up even more. Even more. We could finally get what we loved in Spider-Man the animated series, seeing Peter and Blade do shit with Morbius. Like, it's just, the possibilities are endless. It's insane.
We're already getting Peter and Doctor Strange together, so
it's insane.
I want to
It's
see
one thing.
Gladiator and the Shi'ar Empire.
That would be really freaking dope.
I
I'm
would
with
love
you
to
on
see
that.
I would
Yeah,
love
I'm
to
with
see
you on that.
the Shi'ar Imperial Guard.
First
I want
step
to
of
see
that
one
is
thing, but I don't want
Novacore,
one
we're
thing.
getting Novacore, which
The reestablishment of the Nova Corps because they're fucking dead.
yeah.
And I want to know the explanation on like where this Nova Corps exists. How brand new is it? Because if it's brand spanking new, we can forget about Sam for a long time. But if you're telling me it did exist, I want to know your timeline. How was there not a Nova to help protect Xandar? That's very important. That's very important to know.
You gotta see how and why. What makes, let's say, Richard Rider different than all the other Novas? Because they're all considered Novas, right? So what is it about his Nova that's different?
Right. But what were you gonna say, Trayvon? You're saying you want to see something, but you don't.
I want powered up Rogue, but I don't want powered up Rogue because of what happened.
No, you want powered up, bro.
What happened to Captain Marvel?
Powered
I'll
Up
just
Rogue.
think about Captain Marvel. I'm just thinking about.
Well, you can take her, coma and last them to like a week.
Especially since
I'll miss her.
Especially since we might be getting Blue Marvel, and then we're getting Photon, and then
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah. We're about to go into a space of Marvel that is the most fun we're ever gonna have in all of Marvel history. What they're about to do over the next 10 years will not be able to be topped with whatever they do 10 years after that. Like
that's what we said with the end game. We were like,
no, but think about what I'm saying though. The total end game of the entire MCU is once we get to Galactus. I'm saying unless there's something going on in the comics that's brand new that I don't know about, which that's very likely, there is no story to expand past that. Once you get to that
past Galactus.
Yeah, past Galactus. That's why we all assume once you get there, it'll be such small stories that they do going forward.
Okay, so there's one I think it came out this year. There's a storyline. I think they basically took inspiration off of the Eternals too. There's a storyline where there's a seed planted within the earth, and there's a different type of celestial that's stronger than any other celestial.
Even Galactus?
No, stronger than Galactus too. So, and the only way they can like take him on was to seal him within the Earth's crust and put him to sleep, basically. That's why I figured where they went with the Eternal stuff too, which is
is that the alternate one? That's Dark Ages you're talking about?
No, I don't think it's Dark Ages. Hold on, I have
because there's that one, and then there was one an Avengers story that involved the Celestial, which right now like a Celestial is their home base. It's really weird.
But knowing Kevin Feige and knowing that he's the head of the comics and games and TV and everything, we could get brand new stories that build over the next 10 years. So once we get to the crescendo, we have a whole new arc of stuff that we can go into. I'm just saying, I think at that point, the MCU should take it should pull a Star Wars and take a break. Because at that point, you've done everything we could ever thought of. You've done everything.
But now Star Wars is going all out.
Well, that's because Star Wars, you can't go away and then come back and then drop the way you did with those 3 movies.
You're right.
You got to be very, you got to keep on par. And I think they didn't after Force Awakens. But if you're Marvel and you end on Galactus, I don't need a 10-year break, but 3-4 year break would be apropos.
That's not long it takes them to make a movie though. So I mean, technically, we might get that kind of break.
Not now. We're getting like 5 movies a year. Let's go.
Not technically, we're getting 1 movie and multiple series a year.
No, we got 3
insane.
movies.
This year we got 3.
Yeah. So I'm like, and next year we'll have like.
It was gonna be more.
It was gonna be more if not for COVID.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have breaks for Marvel like we did when Iron Man came out.
Oh, you're talking about Marvel?
We're gonna have 4 movies.
Yeah, talking about Marvel. Yeah. So to me, like Joel said, make us need you again. We're just getting so much spoon fed now that it's kind of just like we expected.
But it's funny because we talked about it at the end of Endgame, like what do you go for next? But as soon as they acquired Fox, like, well, we know exactly where they're gonna go.
Yeah, we know exactly what you can do now. Yeah, your story just expanded another 10, 15 years.
And I mean, based off of the Venom end credit scene, that kind of gave us even more of what they're
another side.
Yeah, it's like damn, they get ready to do that too. They get ready to merge that into
right.
Like,
so
with the blade and all that.
It is Dark Ages. It is Dark Ages.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about. But it's different because, like Joel said, after Endgame, we only had that because it was limited what you could really do going forward. You could do some of what you're doing now, but not to the extremes of what you're doing it. But once you got Fox, it's just like, bro, 4 years can just be X-Men stories. 4 years can just be Fantastic Four stories before you're even bringing any of them in to the main fold to do one huge story.
That's not even talking about the space and supernatural side of Marvel.
Right. Right. So it's like, shit, we're still waiting for them to bring back in Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica, and those are stories that they can work within.
Level characters.
Yeah. So it's like, bro, there's so much they can do. But once you get to Galactus, where you're bringing everything you've culminated since 2008 together with everything you've built since then to take on that big beast, after that, I kind of just need time to breathe, because I never thought I'd see a day where the Avengers were teaming with X-Men and Fantastic Four to take on Galactus. I need to breathe after that shit,
I don't. I want to suffocate.
That's excellent.
I need to breathe. Holy crap. Because can you picture that DVD collection set?
No, because I never.
2008.
No,
all the way to when we get to Galactus.
Way too expensive. Nope.
I'm telling you right now, Joel has
streaming is right there.
Joel has an amazing collection. He'll have to expand that just off of Marvel.
I do look forward to that.
Okay.
Like, I wonder what they're gonna call it, because obviously we just ended the Infinity Saga. But once you end everything, what do you call that? What do you call that? The
Marvel.
MCU saga, I guess.
MCU, not a saga.
Yeah.
The MCU.
The MCU. And then when they do 18 more movies after that, it's like the MCU extended. It's like, that's more, Feige. Jeez. I mean, shit, you already got Feige in each interview telling us, haven't I done enough? So we're thinking Galactus, and he's saying, I gave you Eternals. Is that not good enough? No, Kevin. Our mind.
Ask for fucking Eternals.
our minds are always down the road, Feige. It's never in the now.
Well, we also blame him because he's head of
It's his
comics,
fault.
too, so he knows what's going on.
For sure.
That's true.
Sure. And he's ridiculous whenever he says that. It's like, Feige, you know you can't wait to introduce Fantastic Four and the X-Men and bringing them all together. So why do you think we want to wait? We want this now. Don't you telling us about frivolous things that we're like, no, we want to see that, but not more than Fantastic Four. Not more than X-Men. Like Moon Knight, I can't wait. Blade, can't wait. Werewolf by Night, can't wait. Ghost Rider, can't wait. Not more than Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Which Moon Knight? Not Moon Knight. Which Ghost Rider should they use?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really got hooked on Robbie. So I'd prefer that because it's just different. But if they wanted to go the OG, whichever.
At this point, a lot of the supernatural characters are being Hispanic, and I'm not sure why, but I'll take it.
Wait, I could just see Joel just like something's up. I don't know.
What the fuck's going on here?
Working too well in my favor. Hold on a second. Joel's like, you're gonna screw me up somewhere, and then tomorrow, Ghost Rider, female. And he's like, I knew you were gonna screw me somewhere.
So I'm like, yeah, another. I mean, they already have a Hispanic Ghost Rider, but I mean, if you do, that's another Hispanic supernatural character. I'm like, I mean, I'll take it, but like, that's 3 now.
Joel's like, my luck has to end at some point.
Wait, who's the third one? You have Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight, and then they just Werewolf by Night is gonna be.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now, and then we still have Ghost Rider eventually. Well, if they use Robbie, you know.
Right.
Well, you have a black character too with Blade.
Blade, you know, very non-white at this point.
Bro. At this point, AJ, the way it's going for Joel, you're gonna have Mahershala come out and go, no.
If you want a white character, you still got Doctor Strange too.
That's true. You got Doctor Strange.
That is true. So Benedict comes out and goes, I went on Ancestry and I learned something.
I'm 1/8 Hispanic.
And he's like, look, I'm not full white, guys. But no, so the MCU is setting up so much. The Eternals was great. We all enjoyed it. We all encourage you to go watch the Eternals. And as I'm looking at your poster, Trayvon, they really disrespected Sprite.
Yeah,
Sprite is so small there. You almost think there's only 9.
That's fine. That's fine. Sprite annoyed me. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
The Sprite's always like that.
Right.
To be fair.
I just thought the movie could have done a better job on expanding on her motivation, so that when
I'm blocking him out on purpose.
Just like, okay. No, Sprite should not be exercised as much as they're trying to exercise her out of this. But no, we do encourage you to go see it. Do not listen to what people are saying, good or bad. Just go and experience it for yourself and let you be the judge of how your experience was for this movie. Don't wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. If you can get to a theater and just experience it.
It's fun.
It is.
Visually, at the very least, it's a very visually satisfying movie, especially when you see fucking Arishem like.
That's what Galactus could be. It just gives you but I do want to stress this because I always stress this. If you go and see it and you do not enjoy it, it is okay that certain things aren't for everyone. I'm just saying you don't have to be just so openly negative about it to try to enhance more people to not go see it. You can just say, I didn't like it. Here are the things I did not like, but go see it for yourself. That's it. It's when you get on this whole destruction path that is just like, well, we don't really need you to speak.
You get mad for seeing people happy.
Right. So where someone's like, hey, I see it all the time when someone's like, man, I really enjoyed this. And they're like, I would ruin your day. And it's like, why? I enjoyed it.
Right.
So please just go experience it for yourself, good or bad, good or bad, just experience it. It's very well done. And like I said, if you're a fan of Blade, but could care less about the movie, still go see it so you can experience that end credit scene. Because no, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joel.
No, you don't see him.
No, you don't see him, but it does enhance the knowledge of he's coming. Like he's coming.
It's tangible now. It's not
tangible. Right. Exactly. That's the first official work from him,
Which, let me say this. You know how apropos that is? The first time we found out about the Eternals cast, was the same day Blade was announced, only for us to get the Eternals movie with the first official time Blade is into the MCU. So that's pretty
Caps from Blade. That's twice now.
Yeah, that's pretty hand in hand. And what's crazy is it's the second time he's overshadowed the Eternals. He did it that night, and he did it again with this. Mahershala is just, whenever that man speaks, it's just like, I want more of that. I don't care what that was. Give me that. But no. So please, guys, the MCU is doing great things. Hawkeye is the end of this month. Joel, I'm gonna send it to you because I know you didn't check it out. Dota, the dragon anime that we both watch. Season 2 comes out in January. The trailer dropped 2 days ago.
Oh,
and it looks sick. It looks sick. Yes, it does. I'm gonna send it to you. But guys, please make sure you go check out the Eternals. Thank you guys for watching our spoiler review. I hope it made you want to go see it if you were on the fence about it. Or even
hopefully not watching it.
I hope they didn't watch this. Right.
Sometimes people just go, I didn't have any interest in seeing it, so I'll just see what they said about it. So like I have the knowledge of like some of the stepping stones. I actually know someone who's waiting for me to release this because they don't want to go see it and they're just gonna watch our review.
My word,
it happens. It happens. I didn't suggest it, but it happens. But again, I want to thank Tia so much. I want to thank AJ. I want to thank Trayvon, and I want to thank Joelle. Jamie really wanted to be a part of this, but her showing of Eternals was 4:00. Yeah. So she's probably leaving the movie soon. And I know Jamie, she's gonna be like, when did you guys do it? And it's like, we wrapped up like an hour ago. She's like, damn it, I thought maybe I could catch you. But shout out. And look, we have so much more stuff coming, guys. We're gonna be doing a Doom Patrol breakdown when that ends. We're gonna be breaking down all of Doom Patrol. I'm gonna start doing some stuff for Young Justice because I know a lot of us watch Young Justice. So I want to dive into that because that shit already just like you took my soul already. In 4 episodes, you took my soul. What else could you possibly
got balls in that show, man?
I tell you what, if you have not watched Young Justice, do not watch it without tissues because you'll need them shits. They pull on those heartstrings for sure. And Joel's 2 favorite characters came back this last episode, so that was really good. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. He loves Artemis and Cheshire. Those are his 2 favorite characters.
Okay.
Yeah, he loves them.
And don't forget about the Queen, Kate Bishop, aka Hawkeye.
It's the first thing I said, AJ. Look at that. You're just so drowned out by Haley Stein. It's the first thing I said. I said we got Hawkeye coming the end of this month. And then I was telling Joel about the anime. You were just in love. Relax.
I wasn't listening. I was just thinking about
You were thinking about Haley. I know that's your problem. Anyway.
Also, Dickinson's is out as well. So
yeah, I'm gonna edit that out.
Don't forget.
Suggesting people to watch that.
The greatest Apple TV series of all time right now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ted Lasso, the morning show is there. Sorry.
Morning show is
the best.
Ted Lasso is pretty decent. That's my second favorite.
We're trailing here. Anyway, thank you guys. Go check out Eternals. Till next time. Peace.